Time to talk about some angles, but we're going to talk about them in degrees first. And the next video you will watch will talk about radian measure. So angles are a little bit different starting right now. Angles are now going to be drawn as angles of rotation. It's going to look like a circle. And, well, let's do this thing. A full circle we know is 360 degrees. You should remember that from geometry. And coterminal angles, basically what a coterminal angle is, a different angle that will get you to the exact same spot when you're done. And you'll see a couple examples of that in just a few minutes. So to find a coterminal angle when you're in degrees, all you have to do is add or subtract 360 degrees, okay? So, basically, let's do some stuff. 300 degrees. So you remember a circle is 360. So if we divided that by 4, that means we would start at 0 and then we go by 90s every time we hit one of these axes. So that'll give you an idea of where you need to be when you're done. So I'm not looking for perfection here, but you do have to draw it a specific way. So if it's a positive angle, you go counterclockwise and you always start on the positive x-axis. So 300 degrees, here's 90, 180, 270, and you have to go to 300, so you have to go about 30 degrees more. And then you draw what's known as the terminal ray. And that's it. You just drew a 300 degree angle. That's what they're supposed to look like, okay? So negative 200 degrees. Same kind of thing. You're just going to start here. But when it's a negative angle, you go down first. Means you're going to go clockwise. Here's negative 90, negative 180, and you go a little bit more. Draw your terminal ray. That's negative 200. And you're done. So what happens when you have an angle that's more than 360 degrees? Well, you just keep on going then. So you're just going to go one full rotation, which is 360. And then you're going to go again, which is going to bring you to 450. And then that's going to bring you to 540. And then that's going to bring you to approximately 580. Draw your terminal ray, and you're done. So if it is bigger than 360, you will start to see an angle of rotation, and it's going to keep on going. Last one. I am asking for 2. I'm asking you to draw 90 degrees and negative 270. So to draw 90 degrees, we're just going to start here. It's positive, so we go right here, which is just right on the positive y-axis, and that's it. But if we draw negative 270, we're going to start in the same way, but now we're going to go backwards. There's negative 90, negative 180, and here you go. Negative 270 degrees is the exact same terminal ray. And that is what coterminal angles are. Okay, coterminal angles are different angles that get to the exact same terminal ray when you are done. So it could be positive 90, negative 270, it could be positive 450. You get it. It's just, it'll get you to the exact same place. Okay, so that is how you draw an angle in degrees. So now we're going to list a positive and a negative coterminal angle. Okay, to do that, you have infinite correct solutions. So all you need to do is add or subtract 360 degrees to the angle that's given. So here's 400. Here's a positive one. So you just take 400 and you can add 360 degrees and you get 760 degrees. That is one example of a positive coterminal angle. To get a negative, you would just start subtracting 360, but something's going to happen. So if you did 400 minus 360, you're still in the positive area. So it's 40 degrees. That's still considered a positive coterminal angle, even though you subtracted. So then what you would need to do is you would need to subtract 360 again, and that would give you 400 minus 720, and that would give you negative 320 degrees. That would be a negative coterminal angle. So these two are both positive coterminals, and this is an example of a negative coterminal. If you were to graph those all on the exact same graph, 400, 760, 40, and negative 320, they would all end up with the exact same terminal ray. Okay, so negative 780. You can already see what's going to happen here. You're going to add 360 and you're still going to be negative. You're going to add 360 again and you're still going to be negative. You can subtract 360, you're going to be negative. You're going to have to add 360 degrees 3 times before you get to a positive coterminal angle. So, again, all you have to do is list them. So your positive coterminal angle after you add 363 times would be 300 degrees. And as far as negative coterminal angles, the first 2 times you added the 360, you would still have a negative 420. You would have a negative 60. If you subtracted, you would have a negative 1140. All of those are examples of positive coterminal angles. If you added 360 to this, you'd have 660. As long as it's a positive angle and you just keep on adding 360, or if you get a negative angle by adding or subtracting 360, those are coterminal angles. Okay? Reference angles. Now this is a little bit different. So there's a couple rules about reference angles. First of all, it is always in relationship to the x-axis. You're always going to say, how far am I from the x-axis from where I'm at right now? And it's always a positive angle. And it's always acute as well because you're taking the closest distance to. So we're going to graph and state the reference angle. So this is a little bit different than coterminal angle, and it's good to know how to draw the angle still. So we'll start with 200 degrees. So 200 degrees, we get to 180, and we go a little bit further. And you're going to ask yourself, how far away am I from 180 degrees? You don't figure it out from here. It's always the x-axis. So you went 180 and you went 20 degrees more. So your reference angle is 20 degrees. It's how far you are from the x-axis, and it's always positive, and it's always going to be acute, less than 90. The next one, negative 90 degrees. So we're starting here, and we're going to go right here, and that's it. We're done. So how far away are you from the x-axis? And again, you're 90 degrees away from the x-axis. Actually, no matter which way you go either. So your reference angle for this one is 90 degrees. We'll do one more. Negative 280. If you go negative 280 degrees, you're going to go negative 90, negative 180, negative 270, negative 280. And there you are. So you just went negative 270. But remember, we're not going to figure out how far away we are from the closest axis. It's always to the x-axis. So you just went negative 270. So the next closest one that you have is negative 360. So how far away are you from 360? When you're at 280, you are 80 degrees away from the x-axis. Now you can think about it this way, that you just went 10 degrees past 270, but then you just subtract that 10 from 90 and you still get your 80 degrees. Okay? So always to the x-axis. Your reference angle was 20 degrees for this one, 90 degrees for this one, and 80 degrees for this one. Okay? That's reference angles. You've got to know it. It's going to be very important in the very near future. Last thing. We're going to be talking about radian measure in the next video. So one thing that's going to be very useful is to be able to convert from radians to degrees and degrees back to radians. So whenever you're in degrees, to get it into radians, all you have to do is multiply by pi over 180. But it's even easier with your graphing calculator. If you're in radians, the only thing you do is multiply by 180 over pi. So just remember, to work back and forth, you're going to have a pi and a 180. You just have to memorize when the pi is on top or when the pi is on the bottom. Radians will always have a pi associated with it, so that's why the pi's on top. You're going to need it. So watch this. All you have to do is divide your degrees by 180 degrees. Reduce the fraction, you get 1/2, and throw a pi on top. So pi over 2 is your radian measure of 90 degrees. If you're doing negative 270, you just divide it by 180. Reduce the fraction, and you'll get a negative 3/2. So your radian measure is negative 3 pi over 2. Your calculator will do all that reducing for you. 330. All you have to do is divide that by 360. Type it in the calculator, change it to a fraction, and you're going to get 11/6. I'm sorry, you divide by 180. And you're going to get 11/6, and then you just throw a pi on the top. 11 pi over 6, and you're done. That's it. So that's it for this lesson. If you would like to try one more problem, there it is. Negative 570 degrees. Graph it. State a positive. State a negative coterminal. State the reference angle. And state its radian measure. If you can do all 4 pieces of that, you're good to go. So go ahead and pause the video, and I'll show you the final answer as soon as you click play again. And there you have it. Negative 570. Just keep on going backwards by 90s until you get to negative 540, and then you just have to go 30 more. And that 30 more is your reference angle. So you're 30 degrees away from negative 540. Your positive and negative coterminals could be 150 degrees, they could be negative 210 degrees, or adding and subtracting any form of 360. Yours is acceptable. And the radian measure, all you had to do is divide the 570 by 180, and you math bracket, you get negative 19/6. Throw your pi on the top, and you are good to go. This is Longo, and I'm out. See you, bye.